Thanks to everybody for rearranging your schedules this morning to jump on this important call. We're going to call our respective boards to order individually, so I would like to call this special meeting of the Board of Selectmen for Wednesday, December 23rd to order. John?
I will also call the special meeting of the Board of Finance to order.
Great, thank you very much. I know everybody's super busy, but the governor has given us an opportunity to reissue the tax deferment or low interest programs to help our residents and our local businesses. And there's a short turnaround time on this. And we want to be sure that we are following the best, most transparent process for the town of Darien. Excuse me, I trust everybody's had the opportunity to read Executive Order number 9R, which was issued last Thursday evening, December 16th. And our approvals have to be noted by the 30th of December. So that's what we're doing this morning. I appreciate the opportunity to offer some kind of assistance to our residents and our local businesses. I'm going to turn it to Kate to talk about the program and where we should go from here for this meeting and discussion.
Right. So the state in all its wisdom, did a kind of screwy executive order again, in that if we do nothing, they are going to deem us to have authorized the same program that we did before. I think they think they're doing us a favor by saying, oh, you don't have to vote. But it's not really clear who chooses to stay with the same program that we had offered back in the spring. And we do have to offer one or the other. We could offer both if we wanted to. What we offered in the spring was the tax deferment that allows people to have 3 months to pay their tax bills that come due and payable on January 1st rather than just the 1 month. So they would not incur interest unless they fail to pay by March. And Kathy, you can give me the right date. Is it March 31st or April 1st?
It's April 1st.
Right. So basically they get, normally they would start paying interest if they, or be accruing interest if they don't pay by February 1st. This gives them until April 1st to pay without incurring any interest. The other option was a low interest rate on unpaid taxes, which we did not offer in the spring. And one of the reasons behind us not offering it in the spring was that it does apply to everybody. And it would take their interest from 1.25% per month to, which is 18% per annum, to 3% per annum. So that's a significant drop and may result in more people who, and not necessarily people who have a deep need, delaying paying their taxes. Jen had done an analysis back in the spring that showed what the impact could be on our collections and our cash flow. What actually happened was much less than we had anticipated might happen. And maybe Kathy can talk to you a little bit about what we did see in the spring and if she has any sense of what might happen now with the tax deferral program. Kathy?
Okay, so what happened in the spring was we had a total of 62 applications. The total dollars that were deferred was just under $625,000. The bulk of it has been paid back. From my communications with both taxpayers and businesses, their overwhelming preference was to have extended time and not have the reduced interest option. I also felt that having this particular offering encouraged certain people and businesses that had delinquent taxes to become current and then take advantage of the 60 days on the most recent installment that was covered under the plan. So I felt like there were multiple benefits that were offered that, deferment applicants were able to take advantage of. And I honestly do believe that this was a preferential method. It was easier to do all the accounting for it. In terms of what I see for this second go around. It wouldn't involve as much in terms of, for taxes, it would just be the real estate tax, the second installment of real estate, second installment of personal property, and supplemental motor vehicle. We wouldn't have the regular motor vehicle, and we also wouldn't have to deal with any sewer payments. What was the other thing I wanted to say? Sorry, I do feel there will be some additional taxpayers and commercial properties that will take advantage of it this go around that didn't in the prior. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Thank you very much, Kathy. I would agree that the program that we approved this spring, the full effects of the pandemic impact on residents and local businesses really wasn't felt. And I believe that we're now beginning to see those effects on folks. And so I think this program has the possibility of more people participating this go round than in the past. So I'm eager to hear from everyone on the call, particularly our members of the Board of Finance, about your questions and concerns.
This is John. I, based on what I'm hearing in terms of both participation and what Kathy surfaced in her discussions with folks who might be interested in the program, it strikes me that maybe what we ought to do is simply repeat what we did before. And that maybe the lower interest rate is not something that either there's much clamoring for, or frankly, something that really seems to be in our best interest, since a lot of folks who don't need it could take advantage of it. So my sense is that just simply repeating what we had before feels like the right approach. Reactions?
Do we have the ability to raise people's hands electronically, or maybe just physically? We can see you and yeah, there we go. Okay, see Taylor.
I'm just curious, Kathy, can you elaborate a little bit on why you expect to see more people taking advantage of it this time?
Well, I guess one thing is what Jamie said, that people and businesses have now had a longer period of time to be negatively affected by the pandemic. I also had several commercial and individual people who missed the deadline in July, and I am pretty sure that they will not miss this one.
Taylor, what she means by that, we had a couple of inquiries after the filing deadline, the application deadline had passed. We had some people who asked us to waive that deadline for them, which we couldn't do legally. So we would fully expect those people to be on top of their game this time and apply.
Thanks.
I think I saw a question from Krista.
Yes, perhaps for Kate. Then the application process for those individuals who chose to take advantage of it back in the spring, do they have to apply again? And can you just talk a little bit about that process?
Yes, they would have to apply again. Kathy would know more about the process than I, but there are forms that they have to complete, and there are standards built into the act. You remember, like for a landlord to qualify, they have to show that they are showing forbearance to their tenants. The assessor's office was involved in the process as well, correct, Kathy?
Yeah, so basically OPM provides the application that needs to be completed, and then everything got submitted to me. I made sure everything was in order, and then I would give Tony the applications. He would review them and sign off on them.
Okay, so the decision is made by the assessor's office, just so everyone.
Tony's the one that's signing off on the applications.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Dan.
Yes. Do we have any sense for how much the deferment might go up? It was $624,000 the first time around. Is that likely to double, something less than that, something more than that? I know it's a guess. I totally understand it's just an estimate, but do you have any sense for that?
For me, you know what? My gut is I don't think it would go over $1.5 million. But it's totally, just a gut feeling.
Okay.
Jim Halen.
I fully support doing the same putting forward the same program that we put forward for the July 1st payment. I think from an overall perspective, in terms of what could the size be, I think it'll be smaller because there won't be any sewer charges that are be permitted to be deferred here. I think it could be larger because the effects, as Jamie pointed out, are starting to kind of roll through people, more intensely now. But I would also point out that there's still a fair number of people that benefit from Kathy put together some materials from paying their taxes, their January tax bill on or before December 31st. Even though the SALT exemptions or limitations are in effect, there are still some that benefit there. And I think we saw last year, there was still a fair amount that paid early, either through the banks or just those that don't escrow. So I think there's certainly some positives and negatives in terms of whether that balance might go above the 624 or below, but I fully support this. I guess my only question would be, what is the actual application deadline for residents and businesses to participate?
Kathy, do you have information about the application deadline?
Sorry, I'm looking for it. I thought I highlighted it. I believe it's February 1st.
Okay. Well, I think we should just, if this does go through, if these two boards pass it and the RTM does next week, we should just make sure we get that out, get that news out there,
Kathy's ready for that. She's already worked on a press release. Yep.
The other thing I'd like to say that potentially could positively impact the number of applicants and total dollars is there are some programs that are rolling out. There's a federal grant program for restaurants and bars. There's going to be about 2,000 businesses in Connecticut that will benefit from that outright grant program. I'm working on trying to get a list of local Darien businesses that will benefit from that grant program. There's also a new PPP program that is expected to come in January, and this grant program is supposed to be the bridge till that new PPP program becomes available. So hopefully there's going to be more state and federal support on the way for our local businesses. Seth.
Just as a point of information, the Rules Committee of the RTM met last night and voted to call a meeting of the representative town meeting to vote on this on 9R on December 28th at 8 p.m. So we had to move because we have a 5-day window to be able to call a meeting, and it was getting late. So that's been done.
Thank you, Seth. I appreciate that because we do need some time to publicize the program. I see Kip.
Yeah, the executive order says that the eligibility forms will be printed 5 days after the executive order was issued, which was the 16th. That would make the 21st yesterday, the day in which these forms are available. Kathy, have you received the forms yet?
I'm looking at it.
I do have the.
Go ahead.
I have the form. We haven't put it on the website yet.
Okay, but you have received it.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. No, I also believe that there'll be more firms applying for it now because the PPP program is a little bit more stable and understandable than it was back in April. And I think more firms will probably want to give themselves some time to get that PPP loan to help pay for the tax.
Krista.
Yes, I fully support continuing with this service offered by the state to our residents and taxpayers. My question is regarding the process. Kathy, you mentioned some people came in late. Is there anything you would recommend that we do a little bit differently this time in getting the word out, or were you pleased and these were just individuals who just weren't aware?
You know, there was a press release, it was on the news feed on the website. You know, I felt like it was out there. You know, the only other thing that could have been done would have been a full-blown mailing to every, you know, household and business in the town, and I don't think we wanted to do that. So,
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
you know, I also think there were some people that had, you know, properties in other towns, and other towns may have just offered it carte blanche to everybody without an application. So they assumed Darien was doing the same thing without checking. So, you know, I can't be responsible for someone that doesn't take the time to check everything out.
No, oh, I totally agree. I just thought if we can learn anything from our first go around, as we approach it this time, to be cognizant of that. But you're right, we can't necessarily do the work for them, but thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Sarah?
One of the things I see in the deferment program section of this executive order is that we can extend eligibility to other categories of taxpayers, businesses, nonprofits, and residents. Are there any separate groups of people that would be affected this time around that were not in the spring? I mean, we just assume residents and businesses, correct?
Right, there won't be, it's going to be the same population, basically.
Right, okay.
Any other questions or comments from Board of Selectmen members? John, I'll turn it to you to.
Yeah, I guess the only question I would have is maybe we just clarify the process going forward. So my understanding is that the Board of Selectmen will need to vote on this. Then the Board of Finance will need to vote on this. And then coming out of this meeting, this will head over to the RTM just so that the public is aware of both the process and the timing. And then on the meeting that you set, there'd be final approval of this, in which case the program is fully authorized. Is that correct?
That's the process as I understand.
Yes, yeah, there, I had to get my mic on. Yeah, all right, the RTM ultimately would approve it.
Okay, great.
And just a nuance in the process, John, I think that if the Board of Finance wants to take an affirmative vote, which I don't know that you necessarily have to do, but I'd like to ask you to do that. I'd like for you guys to vote first to recommend that the Board of Selectmen approve the tax deferment program. Then the Board of Selectmen will vote to recommend the tax deferment program for consideration by the RTM.
Thanks, and I have no problem with that. And I would echo some of the comments you made before. These types of initiatives really are geared to help our businesses and residents that are having trouble at this time and continue to have trouble. So I'm certainly enthusiastic about supporting it and would hope that we could come up with creative ways to help those members of our community in the future. So I applaud all of this. Before I ask for a vote of my board, are there any Board of Finance members that have questions or comments that we haven't had a chance to hear? Okay. To your point, Jamie, I don't think we need to provide a formal approval, but certainly a vote to giving a sense of our board that we recommend this to the Board of Selectmen makes sense. So could I get a motion to support the tax deferral program as articulated in the governor's resolution?
So moved.
Okay, Dan, and looks like maybe Taylor is a second. All in favor? Okay.
Yes.
Jim, Dan, Rob, Taylor, me, that's 5 of us. Am I missing anyone else? I don't see. Unanimous vote from the Board of Finance. Thank you. Over to you, Jamie.
Great, thank you very much. I know that a few members of the RTM have joined us this morning. And before we leave this joint meeting and before the Board of Selectmen votes, I'd like to know if any of those members have questions for this joint body.
Just a further point of information, the Finance and Budget Committee is the has been appointed primary from the RTM to report out on this item.
Thank you, Seth. I think I see Jack Davis unmuted. Would you like to speak, Jack?
Here, yeah.
I'll be real quick. We're going to be holding our meeting at 2:30 Monday afternoon so that the RTM could meet on Monday, its regular date. I anticipate that it will move through rather quickly on both sides.
Thank you very much. Any
Hey,
other
Jamie, sorry to interrupt for 1 second, but I did find the due date for the application, and it is February 1st of 2021.
Thank you. Any other RTM member questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then I will ask for a motion to reauthorize the tax deferment program in accordance with the governor's executive order number 9R and refer the same to the Darien Representative Town Meeting.
So moved.
So moved.
Krista moves, seconded by Kip. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Members of the Board of Selectmen, please indicate by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's unanimous from the Board of Selectmen as well. Terrific. Kate, can you tell us if there are any public comments for this meeting? You're on mute, Kate.
Oops. Bert had emailed a question earlier, which I had answered, and I don't know if he has any further since he's here.
No, I have no further questions. Thank you for answering it.
Okay. His question was about process.
Okay, perfect. If there's no other public comment, then I would just like to take a moment to again thank you all for getting together on short notice. And I want to wish all of you and everybody who's watching from home a peaceful and healthy holiday season. And here's hoping that 2021 is a dramatic improvement over the year 2020. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the Board of Selectmen's meeting.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Sarah. Seconded by Kip. All those in favor say aye.
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 John?
I'll also entertain a motion to adjourn the Board of Finance.
So moved.
Taylor moved, Jim second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Board of Finance is adjourned.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, have a good day.
Happy holiday. Thank you, everybody. Kate and
Bye,
Kathy, Jen, thank you.
Happy holidays.